birds. I was watching the fireflies. What'd you say?
I said, can you see if they've left yet?
Well, I wish I'd been born a cat. That way I could see in the dark.
I don't think I'll wait for him. I've got a book. I'm going to my room.
Oh, does your jaw hurt tonight, Jeff?
Not bad.
Then stay a little longer. We'd like to have you.
Yes, Jeff, you've already invested 267 minutes in reading. Surely you can afford an additional 10 cents worth.
All right, my statistical friend.
Yes.
My curiosity's good for 10 minutes more.
I wonder what she's like. Miss Willie says they're one of the wealthiest families in America.
Well, she'd have money then. And rave about artists I've never heard of. Well, that's bad.
Oh, cynic. Has money spoiled me?
Fairy, do you have money?
Bags?
Let's not be prejudiced about money. Some of my best friends are wealthy. Hannibal, play something while we're waiting. Help distract Jeff.
All right, well, you catch the tune. What shall I play?
Surprise us.
How about a gypsy melody?
No, don't play gypsy music, Hannibal. It frightens me.
Frightens you?
Terrifies me. I was stolen by gypsies when I was a child and rescued just as they were about to dye my skin with walnut juice. Well, I would.
Go ahead, Hannibal.
Thank you.
Oh, I hope she likes music. Maybe she plays an instrument herself. Oh, the harp. I hope she plays the harp. All my life, sorry.
Thank you.
I was raised in a harp. My father, like an angel.
Jeff, what are you doing?
Oh, I'm sorry, Hannibal. There's a book I want on the shelf.
Fairy, get the book for Jeff so we can listen to Hannibal.
Yeah, I'll get the chair.
This chair.
This chair.
Never mind, Fairy, I can get it.
No. Climbing on chairs is women's work. Besides, men have mountains. Which book did you want?
The Lifespan of the Ape.
People give the strangest books to this library. I couldn't get into Forbidden Tibet.
You know, it's amazing what standing about people does. I feel smarter than anyone in the whole world.
It's the yellow one.
Books are in my blood. My mother invented the filing system at the New York Library.
I'll get Jeff's book.
No. Musicians shouldn't work.
Now be careful, Fairy. Don't get dust in your eyes.
Wouldn't you like animal husbandry? I can reach that one.
This time it's got to be The Lifespan of the Ape.
Very good. Oh! I'm sorry, Mrs. Patty. Who's out with this? Who turned the lights off? Someone turn the lights back on.
Get to the switch before someone is
I realize Mrs. Patty is back.
Mrs. Patty, you and the lights.
Mrs.
Patty!
Patty!
Please, Mrs. Patty, let us keep the lights on.
Heaven's sake!
One of these nights, you're going to turn the lights out at the wrong time and somebody's going to get hurt.
That's right.
Then you'll be sorry. I do wish you'd chosen something else to give up for Lynn.
It's unfair to make the rest of us suffer to get you to heaven, Mrs. Patty.
Other people like electricity.
Terrible
Now
shame.
you sit at your easel like a good girl and leave the lights alone.
I must say, you startled us, Miss Willie. We thought you were in the front office.
For the love of Pete, Fairy, what are you doing up there?
I'm only getting a book for Jeffrey.
With a violin bow?
I can't reach it.
I didn't mean to cause all this commotion. Forget it.
No, I'll get it for you. Everyone wants his own head. Timber! There you go, Jeffrey. You can take the bow, Miss Willie. Anyway, you can take my hand.
Fairy, the next time someone wants a book from the top shelf, call me. Why, that whole shelf could have fallen down on you.
Oh, who ever heard of anyone being hurt by good books?
Well, enough of them might, and I'd hate for that to happen.
I hate everything in the world, but most of all, I hate cold cream, hot dogs, codfish, crawfish, catfish, catnip, sheep dip, sawdust, Subway, sewers, skewers, buttermilk caterpillars, frictions, fractions, pins, punts, policemen, and electricity!
No, not again, Mrs. Patty.
What's she like, Miss Willie?
Yes, what is she like, Miss Willie?
I haven't seen her. Fairy, would you put the cards away for me, please?
Please.
Thank you.
Is she young or old?
All I know about her is that her name is Savage, and she gets the blue dress.
Well, I hope she's beautiful. Competition exhausts me.
Well, you certainly tied that one in a hurry, Bingo.
Miss Willie, don't call me that, please. It's a pet name my wife uses.
I forgot.
And I wish you wouldn't single me out to kiss.
Well, you're the handsomest.
What would my wife think if she came to call and saw a strange woman kissing me? She'd explode.
She would if I know her.
Will you please try to remember?
I'll try. Forgive me.
Hello?
Yes, Dr. Emmett. Right away. Let's clean up in here a little bit, please. Hannibal, would you put the dartboard away for me, please?
Right away.
We'd like to make a good first impression. Are we gonna meet her now? I don't know, dear.
We haven't had anyone interesting since that magician's wife, remember? She was on nerves from being sawed in half so much. What was her name?
I think something hyphenated.
Well, I
Yes.
forget. But she had color. All my relations are so drab. Both my parents were albinos.
Really, Fairy, you shouldn't invent such things.
But they were emotional albinos.
Oh,
Oh, Fairy, don't peek. It's so degrading to get on your knees.
Oh, you get on your knees to pray, don't you? I can say a prayer right now. Dear God, God, let me see something.
see anything, Fairy?
Yes, I do. God was quick.
What do you see?
Someone coming out of Dr. Emmett's office.
Oh, who?
1, 2, 3 strange
Three
people.
people.
Oh my gosh, they're coming in here.
Oh,
Come on,
dear.
everyone, let's go in the hall and eavesdrop.
Is that ethical,
You
Jen?
know we're gonna be sent out anyhow.
We
But,
could call it espionage.
Come on, Miss Patty. We're
all
gonna go in the hall
right.
and eavesdrop.
Florence?
I'll guard the
Oh,
light
what?
switch. It's rude to let guests enter a dark room.
This is the last time I'm going to be a party to peeking Fairy. Kneeling simply ruins my night off.
I can't get excited, or I'll get hiccups and betray us.
Dr. Emmett will join you in just a moment.
Please tell him that if there's nothing more, we'd like to get started back.
Certainly. Please make yourselves at home.
Well, what do you think of it now, Titus? Are you reassured?
Somewhat. It certainly doesn't look like an institution.
Not at all.
Mother will be content and happy here, I'm sure. It's a charming little place.
I just hope we haven't made a mistake.
Darling, the only mistake we made was not taking steps sooner.
I don't like to be thought insensitive. Perhaps it would have been better if we had left her at home with an attendant.
That would have been disastrous.
You're hard.
Someone has to be practical.
No, you're callous. You've married too many foreigners.
Samuel, darling, we've done what had to be done. Let's not quarrel about it, please.
Lilibella's right. This is civilized behavior.
I'm sorry to have delayed you. I was anxious to have Dr. Johnson question your mother.
Dr. Emmett, it's quite a place you've got here. It's been a great relief to us to have found it so cheerful.
We were assured, Doctor, your place offered the best that money could buy.
Well, we hope to offer the best that experience can provide.
One thing I meant to ask you, Doctor, will Mother be exposed to any danger here?
Not at all. The patients in this wing are in their final stage of treatment. They're extremely kind and cooperative. Why, most of them would seem quite as normal as, say yourself, Senator.
You don't say.
While we're waiting, I'd like to ask you a few more questions about this memorial fund of your mother's.
Well, there's really nothing more to say. She planned on using it to give away the entire Savage estate.
Newspapers call it her happiness fund.
Was this indifference to money something recent?
I wouldn't say so.
She's always giving money to foolish causes.
Would you mind being a bit more specific?
Well, there was this Italian farmer who wanted a box of salt from Italy.
Just
Mother spent $200 just to get it for him.
And then there was this flower peddler. He asked for a tombstone for his horse.
he got it.
Well, after Father died, this obsession grew progressively worse. Last summer, she chartered a ship to send 1,000 school children around the world.
Why?
She said they ought to go around the world while there's still a world around.
We stopped her just as she was on the verge of setting this fund up legally.
With a board of directors.
With an insane board of directors, not a bishop, banker, or lawyer among them.
Well, whom did she choose?
A gardener, a veterinarian, and herself.
We should have known Hermione was going the day she decided to go on the stage.
That! Have you ever heard of such a case before, Doctor? What would make a woman of her age just suddenly decide to become an actress?
Well, the unique is routine here, Senator. Nothing surprises us.
Well, she would have been talented or even vain. I could have understood it.
But she wasn't. She was quiet, even timid. And then suddenly this amazing change.
Grief did it.
But why turn to acting? Doesn't life already have enough drama in it?
God knows.
Isn't that right, Doctor?
As Judge Savage says, God knows.
And I wish you could explain that better to us.
That's obvious exhibitionism.
Exactly.
She takes a childish delight in being seen everywhere with that teddy bear.
And a thing to indulge in this sudden love for notoriety.
Her entire conduct is a travesty of dignity and self-respect.
And sound business.
Well, can you tell me, Senator, has there ever been a similar pattern of behavior in your mother's family?
Frankly, I don't know.
Well, you see, Doctor, she's not really our mother. Father remarried when we were just little children.
I see.
But this has never affected our feelings towards her.
Well, I'm afraid I can't be of much more help to you until I've had time to observe her behavior here.
You're the doctor.
But we know she'll be happy in such a charming little place.
I wouldn't mind staying here myself.
This is no place to laugh, Samuel.
But, Senator, we encourage laughter here. We think it healthy.
You do?
Definitely. It's good therapy. For, as Byron says, and if I laugh at any mortal thing, 'tis that I may not weep.
Of course.
Excuse me, Dr. Emmett.
Yes, Miss Willie?
Mr. Johnson won't be able to complete Miss Savage's file for the moment.
Why not?
Well, we're finding her a little uncooperative.
Well, then bring her in here, please.
Yes,
While you're
Doctor.
all saying goodbye, I'll go have a talk with Dr. Johnson.
Oh, please don't go, Doctor.
Please, Doctor.
Doctor, we preferred you'd stay. The shorter we made this, the better for all concerned.
She's vindictive.
For some reason, Doctor, she holds me responsible.
Perhaps a little more time will take care of her resentment?
Would you come in, please, Mrs. Savage?
Mrs. Savage, would you care to take a seat?
We waited to say goodbye to you, Mother.
I do not like thee, Lily Bell. The reason why I cannot tell. But this I know and know full well. I do not like thee, Lily Bell.
She has been chanting that over and over again all the way down here.
Mrs. Savage, your children are leaving. Wouldn't you like to say goodbye to your children, Mrs. Savage? Your children would like to say goodbye to you.
The fireflies are out. How lovely. What makes the fireflies light up like that, Doctor? Are they mating?
I really couldn't say, Mrs. Savage.
Oh, I thought you'd know. Isn't this a bug house?
This is the Cloisters. This is your new home. I'm Dr. Emmett.
Wouldn't it be fascinating if human beings lit up like fireflies when they were mating? Do you light up when you're mating, Lily Bell? Lord knows you're flighty.
Titus, we might as well go now. I can tell she's going to be unpleasant again.
Surely, Mother, you're not going to let us depart in this atmosphere of bitterness.
50 needles and 50 pins and 50 dirty...
She's just determined to take the wrong attitude, Doctor.
It's futile.
Perhaps, as I said before, a little more time will take care of her resentment. Come, Samuel.
Doctor, I'll send another suitcase up in the morning. Under the circumstances, I could only pack one, and as you see, she refused to dress properly.
Well, Sunday's Visitor's Day. If you'd care to send one down then.
My sister's returning to Paris next week. We'll schedule things at that time. Good night, Mother.
Mrs. Savage, if you need anything, Miss Wilhelmina will take care of you.
We have a lovely garden out there. You'll be able to see it much better in the morning. When I was a child, we always said 30 needles and 30 pins. You've added 20 more.
It's a fault of mine. Exaggeration. I shouldn't try to irritate them like this. I only irritate myself. But I
I suppose it has to be exasperating now to be funny later.
I noticed one of his eyes is missing. It must have dropped out in the front office. I'll go and look as soon as they've gone.
Don't bother. It fell out last fall at the opera. I'd have found it, only the usher was so nasty about my lighting matches during the magic fire music. You know what this is, don't you?
Suppose you tell me.
It's a teddy bear. Surely you've seen one before.
Well, not that big.
Do you know what I do with it?
I couldn't possibly guess.
I sleep with it.
Do you?
Yes, I do. Are you going to speak to me as if I were an imbecile now, too?
Here, now, we mustn't be hostile. Won't you sit down?
Of course, you haven't harmed me. Would you care to know why I sleep with it?
If you'd care to tell me.
I don't care, and I'll tell you. I get lonely. I'm too old to remarry and too fastidious to sleep with a cat.
Well, then, by all means, you must take him to bed with you while you're here. Would you care to take off your hat?
Well, if I'm going to spend the rest of my life here, I might as well.
It's a very interesting hat.
10-cent piece of felt and a few chicken feathers. $85. Why economy should be so expensive, I don't know.
It takes imagination.
The blood of pirates. But I wanted it. I've wanted a hat like this since I was 16 years old, for all the good it does me now. Maybe you can find something to do with it, although I'm not at all sure what.
I don't know. You might ought to keep it. You may need it.
Oh, dear, my hair looks like the matted end of a coconut.
Oh, I don't think so. It's a heavenly color.
You should have seen it last year. It was bright red. Then, just to be different, I dyed it black with a white streak down the middle. I looked nothing so much as a skunk. Finally, I just gave up and went with blue. It goes with everything.
Well, it'll certainly go with your room. Would you like to go up now and get settled?
Is it time to lock me up?
Oh, I would dream of locking you up. Did you bring a suitcase?
My daughter did. I wasn't consulted.
Well, I'll go and get it and come back and take you up. You can wait here.
Alone?
Of course.
No handcuffs?
We have the honor system.
Honor system, indeed.
Oh, jeez. Hi there.
Miss Willie says the bars are only there to keep the world
Yes.
outside. Corny, isn't it? It's alive!
Fairy.
You must stop frightening yourself.
The poor thing's quite harmless.
That won't bite?
It won't shed legs or bark. It couldn't be less trouble.
Well, in that case, any friend of yours is a friend of mine. Perhaps we should introduce ourselves. You must be Mrs. Savage. I'm Florence Williams.
How do you do?
We've been expecting you all afternoon. We're so glad to have you with us. May I introduce Fairy May? Say you love me.
Oh, but we've just met.
Oh, you don't have to mean it, but I feel wonderful when people tell me they love me.
Well, I'm sure everyone loves you.
You see, I told you she wouldn't be spoiled. Welcome to the Cloisters, Climate Best by government test.
Thank you.
And this is Hannibal.
How do you do?
How do you do?
And this is our Mrs. Patty.
How do you do, Mrs. Patty? I hate everything in the world, but most of all, I hate lightning, skunk cabbage, mustard, spiders, blisters, girdles, mice, bees, keys, ragweed, chloroform, rhubarb, barnacles, bats, broken glass, eels, crumbs, drugs, tombstones, gallstones, salt, and thunder. Why don't you like rhubarb?
Oh! Mrs. Patty won't answer you, Mrs. Savage. She only recites the things she hates.
Sweet but stubborn.
Yes.
Mrs. Patty stopped talking about 20 years ago.
Why?
She got mad. Her husband told her to shut up. And she did.
She gave up conversation for life.
But she's only giving up electricity for Lynn.
Yes.
Well,
Poor thing.
Mrs. Patty, you're a woman of wisdom. There's only one thing wiser than saying very little, and that's saying nothing at all. Would you like to hold him?
She likes you.
I like her.
Oh, you haven't met Jeff. Come here, Jeff.
Come along, Jerry.
Please excuse my left hand.
Oh, certainly. Is it a toothache?
Jeff's face is scarred, and he likes to spare people.
Yes.
Well, you needn't spare me. I have to look at myself every morning.
Dr. Emmett refuses to let me wear a bandage.
Well, we must humor our doctors once in a while.
Well, now you've met everyone. We're a small group on this wing, but we hope you find us comfortable to be with. Yes.
No, Miss Savage hasn't met everyone.
What?
She hasn't met the Holy Terror.
Oh, yes, of course. How stupid of me. The Holy Terror,
Where is he,
Florence.
Florence?
Well, I don't know. He was here just a few moments ago. John Thomas!
He might have gone out into the hall.
Oh, yes, I'll see. John Thomas! You won't hurt her, will you?
Gracious, why should I?
You won't object, will you?
Well, what is John Thomas?
Hassan, what did you think?
Here?
Yes, he was born here.
I can't. Oh, look, asleep on the floor. My husband warned me I'd be a bad mother. Mrs. Savage, this is my son.
You like children, don't you?
Everyone's but my own.
How old is he? 5.
Oh, he's big for 5 months.
No, 5 years.
I miss years.
Will you excuse me now? I have to put him to bed. He has measles. I do hope you won't catch them. Excuse me, Mrs. Savage.
Bye, Florence.
Bye.
That was exceedingly kind of you, Mrs. Savage. Not to notice anything wrong.
Yeah, there wasn't time for us to explain, but you were like lightning.
Poor Florence. She isn't well, you know. We pretend for her sake, and we hope you will too, Mrs. Savage.
Oh, I will.
I want you to understand right away, Mrs. Savage, that except for Florence, the rest of us are free to leave whenever we choose.
But we don't go because there's no better place to go.
Yes.
You're a very lucky woman to be accepted, Mrs. Savage, if I say so myself. And I do.
Oh, do be quiet!
Tyrants, what?
That rude noise is the signal for us to go to our room.
It's the evil of the machine age. Perfect pistons and no manners.
Well, ours not to reason what. I wonder why no one ever quotes the first line. It's someone blundered.
Good night.
I didn't hear you. We never say that. It means there's no more.
No more of what?
Oh, no more of so much.
Don't let Jeff's matter disturb you, Mrs. Savage. You see, Jeff's plane was shot down in the war, and he hasn't quite recovered as yet.
Oh, was his face badly burned?
Oh, no, Jeff bailed out, but he was the only one who did. He lost the rest of his crew. You see, Jeff's scar goes much deeper than we can see.
Oh, surely you've guessed by now. Hannibal and I were the only ones here free to go. Of course, we couldn't tell you that before because the others, we pretend to save their pride.
Ooh!
Oh, Miss Patty, I'm sorry. I forgot you were still here. Oh, I didn't mean you anyhow. Oh, I could tear my tongue out. Will you excuse me, Miss Savage? If I don't go apologize, she'll sulk.
I guess you've gathered that Fairy has the gift of good for saying the wrong things.
I should think it would take a bit of doing to apologize to someone who won't speak and sulks anyhow.
Oh, no, you'll get used to Miss Patty, Mrs. Savage. Just treat her like a clock. Look at her to see how the day goes, but don't expect an answer, because she's much happier at her easel.
Oh,
Yes.
is she an artist?
I don't know whether or not she's an artist, but she paints.
Portraits?
Seascapes, which is rather odd, because I doubt she's ever seen the ocean before.
Oh, Miss Savage, I forgot to tell you. Stay awake. If you go to your room, you better not sleep.
What does she mean about not sleeping?
Well, none of us sleep here.
Where do you sleep?
We don't. Oh, we go to our rooms. We've agreed to that in principle, but we stay awake. We never close our eyes. You see, when we close our eyes, today ends. And when today ends, tomorrow begins. Today we're safe. Tomorrow may be filled with lots of disasters, Mrs. Savage. Today is our only certainty. Yes, can anything be simpler?
Not much.
Today is our only certainty. We hope and we pray every night, but today is our only certainty. Be careful, Miss Savage. Always watch the night.
My goodness. Were they all in here to meet you?
Well, there was a Mrs. Patty and 4 others who have no business being here.
I quite agree with you.
Do you believe that I belong here?
Mrs. Savage, we're understaffed. I'm kept far too busy to have any opinions.
I'd like to know what they told you about me.
Was there anything to tell?
Did they mention my husband's memorial?
Not to me.
Then they probably told you that his death affected my reason.
That would be understandable.
But untrue.
Mrs. Savage, weren't you happy with your husband?
I married Jonathan when I was 16 years old. I loved him from the moment I met him until the moment he died. Do you have any idea what that meant?
I think so.
Well, you don't, my dear. It meant that my only aim in life was to make him happy, to anticipate what he wanted, to want what would please him. That meant that I had to forget all of the other things that I'd always wanted to do.
But surely you had no regrets.
Oh, none, while he lived. But after he was gone, I remembered all of the things that I had always wanted to do.
What had you always wanted to do?
Things that would have shocked poor Jonathan.
Like the blue wig?
That. And studying French, and ballet lessons, and people. As a young girl, I just knew I could be a great actress. So, with time running out and no responsibilities left, I decided to be one.
Mrs. Savage, don't you think you waited a little too late?
Oh, I certainly do. Had I been a fool in my youth, no one would have noticed the difference in my old age.
I'd hardly think of you as old.
So, having kicked over the traces of myself and learned once again the importance of unimportant things, I decided to help other people have the things that they wanted.
How were you going to do that?
By establishing the Jonathan Savage Memorial Fund, a foundation for giving away money in memory of my husband. And that insane idea has brought me here.
Well, you won't find it too unpleasant here. Would you like to go on up now and see your room?
You know, at least I learned one thing from my French lessons.
What's that?
What I am. I'm a mort canard. That's French for dead duck, I think.
No, Mrs. Savage, I think you mean a canard mort. And it isn't as bad as all that.
Oh, yes, it is. Someday you'll realize that a great injustice was done me here, that I was really always quite sane. But here I am, and here they'll try to keep me with my few foolish years taken from me. Oh, if people would walk around the edge of a carpet once in a while, it would say wearing out the middle. Oh.
I don't
you
know.
bring melody to the morning.
Yes,
You could be in the concert field, Hannibal, if you worked at it.
Oh, you're
I
so
thought
right,
about that,
Chef.
John.
Golden fingertips. I simply surrender to you.
Oh, do come in, Mrs. Savage.
I trust you had a pleasant sleepless night.
Wonderful.
Lovely, thank you. Not a wink.
You've just missed Hannibal's recital.
Yes.
Oh, I heard it. It's what brought me from my room.
You wouldn't believe it, Mrs. Savage, but Hannibal never even touched a violin until last year.
Never.
What makes you think I wouldn't believe it, dear? Was it something you composed yourself, Hannibal?
No, Bach, with variations of my own, that is.
Mathematics loss was certainly our game.
Now, I don't quite follow that theory.
Well, dear Fairy knows I used to be a statistician.
Oh, thank you. Now I'm straight.
Give him a fraction to multiply.
Oh, I'm afraid I wouldn't know whether he had it right or not.
Well, my last job was with the government, charting trends. I was supposed to keep my finger on the pulse of the public and my ear to the ground.
Rather vulnerable position, was it not?
Oh, very. But I was fired, as all good men are, and replaced by the computer.
Well, I should think you would hate electricity, too.
No, but I wanted to make money with my brain, so I spent the next 2 years trying to think of something that I could make for a dime, sell for $1, and was have it for me. I'm afraid to say that my education was wasted.
Oh, I'm going to send John Thomas to Princeton. Their boys aren't very bright, but they're such gentlemen.
Oh, that reminds me, Miss Savage. Can we ask you a personal question?
Well, they're the only ones worth asking, dear.
Well, a little bird told us you used to be an actress.
Yes.
Well, we're bursting with curiosity. Is it true?
Well, if being on stage makes you an actress, then I suppose it's true.
Miss Willie, That's the bird that Florence told you about. She said you used to be on the New York stage.
And we wondered if we've seen you before, Mrs. Savage.
Well, not unless you were quick. I was only in 2 shows. The first was Macbeth.
Oh, I adore Macbeth. All that blood? I sent a pint of my blood to the Red Cross one time.
Why?
They sent it back.
I should think you would have been a novel departure as Lady Macbeth.
I couldn't agree with you more, but they cast me as a witch.
Oh, but you're a perfect witch.
Thank you, darling.
Please, speak some witch talk for us.
Oh, I didn't have any lines. If I had, it would have cost me twice as much.
Why did it cost you anything?
Well, I backed the show. If I hadn't put up the money, they wouldn't have even let me play the mute witch.
Was it expensive?
Very. But it was worth it. The show made history. It was the first show to ever close before the reviews were out.
Oh, what a pity. Weren't you discouraged?
Bitterly. But man is by nature optimistic. If he weren't, he'd eat his young.
Well, this is true.
So I decided to write a play and star myself.
You wrote a play?
I did indeed, with a courage born of ignorance and a plot out of wedlock.
Well, what part did you play then?
Well, the lead, naturally. Not guilty, starring Ethel P. Savage.
What does the P stand for?
I haven't the faintest idea. I put it in my name for luck. It worked, too. We ran a year.
Oh, tell us what the play was about.
Yes, tell us.
Well, it was about this woman who had murdered a man. And she was defended by this young woman lawyer who later on turns out to be her own daughter. I had bright red hair and I died in my daughter's arms 6 nights and 2 matinees a week, just as the curtain came down and the jury whispered, "Not guilty." I've never had a better time in my life.
We bet you got good credits on that one, Mrs. Savage.
Well, they were sincere.
What did they say?
Well, the New York Times said my play set the theater back 50 years. It couldn't possibly, because I stole the plot from Madame X, and that was only 40 years old.
Right.
Wouldn't you think they'd know?
But the Wall Street Journal was wonderful. They said I brought something new to the theater.
Money! Really, Fairy, money isn't new.
What did Wall Street say?
It said I had a tenacious mediocrity, unhampered by taste.
But that wasn't good.
Oh, it was perfect. In our ads, we simply said tenacious and unhampered.
And you ran a year?
We did indeed. I'd have been running yet if my daughter hadn't come home and stopped me. Oh, I know I was terrible, and audiences only came to laugh at me, but we both had a good time. What more can you ask for? I do miss it. But oh well, my turn is coming.
Yes. Theater.
Well, I think that was awfully mean of your daughter. No, Miss Savage, don't do it!
Fairy, what is wrong?
Look, Miss Savage is about to read the newspaper.
Please give it to me, please, Mrs.
You mustn't
Savage.
read it.
I wouldn't do that if I were you, Mrs.
It'll
Savage.
only make you unhappy.
Yes.
Now, just a minute. I know what the paper is going to say, so there's nothing you can hide from me. I've only been waiting for it to happen.
Waiting for what to happen, Mrs. Savage?
Why, for what it says in the paper.
But we don't know what it says in the paper.
Then why were you trying to keep me from seeing it?
Because we have an agreement.
We never read the newspapers until they're a month old.
We find we're much happier when we wait.
What are you waiting for?
Why, we're waiting for... Oh, what are we waiting for, Hannibal?
Perspective.
Peace of mind.
Security.
Yes.
We believe it's better to read about unpleasant things a month after they've happened.
It's reassuring when you know things have already happened. There's absolutely nothing that can be done about it.
My dear people, there is something very important in this paper, and I want to know about it now, not next month.
We're only trying to help you.
Disaster is easier to digest when it's a month old.
Well, you're very kind, but I've made my bed, and I want to know who's in it.
We can't prevent Mrs. Savage from reading the paper if she insists. We don't know her well enough yet to be rude.
You know, Florence is right.
Well, if you read anything unpleasant, you better not tell us.
No.
If there's trouble in the world, it won't help us to know about it.
This is yesterday's paper. I want today's paper.
Oh, well, it's not here yet.
When does it come?
I don't know.
Well, is there a radio in the room?
Yes, right over there.
Maybe I can catch the news. Why didn't someone mention you had a radio here?
You didn't ask us.
Exactly.
What? The set doesn't light up. Is there something wrong with it?
Well, I don't think so. Of course, it hadn't got any tubes.
Oh, yes.
It hasn't any what?
Tubes. Mrs. Patty steals them. She hates electricity,
No
you
electricity.
know.
No one knows where she hides them.
Why didn't someone mention that the set had no tubes?
You didn't ask us.
Oh. Well, how high is that wall?
Much too high, Mrs. Savage.
Easily 10 chairs high.
Yes.
I suppose no one ever leaves that door open at night.
Never.
Don't look beyond the garden, Mrs. Savage. Well, there may be a better place out there somewhere, but if you leave here to search for it, you may not find it and lose what you have.
You'd like it here after a while, Mrs. Savage, trust me.
Except in January, the rooms get really cold.
Oh,
well, we
yes.
like you already.
Oh, it isn't that I don't find you enchanting, but you...
Like we what? Oh, don't say anything mean, Mrs. Savage.
Well, it's just that...
Do we still? We have to go, Mrs. Savage.
Where?
It's garden hour!
We have a little plot, and we plant things. Well, you can plant anything you like, vegetables or flowers. Last year, I planted birdseed just to see what would come up. Oh, yes, what did come up, Fairy? Nothing. But it was a very rich horticultural experience.
Oh, there's a beautiful evergreen in the center. And at Christmas time, it lights up and says, Merry Christmas, keep out. Yes.
Come with us, Mrs. Savage. I'll show you my delphinium.
Oh, no, I have some thinking to do. I'll just stay here. Please, go without me.
But the chimes ring.
Yes.
One has to obey orders.
Excuse me, Mrs. Savage, what are you doing?
Oh, I believe in wearing out a carpet evenly.
Oh.
Oh, how prudent. I'll help you.
Oh, but don't you have to garden?
Oh, this is much more constructive.
I'll help too. We must all do our share.
Come on, boys. Many feet make light work.
This is a refreshing change, Chef. Most women lead us in circles.
Go on, Miss Savage. We're behind you.
I feel like the Pied Piper.
I bet you can't guess what we're doing, Miss Willie.
Wearing out the carpet evenly.
Oh, someone told you.
Didn't I hear the chimes ring garden hour, Fairy?
No, I think it's broken.
Fairy, aren't you ashamed of yourself?
Oh, I wish I were dead.
Miss Willie, I'm afraid this is my fault.
I didn't feel like gardening anyhow.
Oh, but Florence, you've been doing so well with your flowers. Aren't you afraid they may die?
I don't want anything to die.
Oh, that's so true. Florence wouldn't hurt a fly. She catches them in a jar and throws them out the window to set them free. Flies adore her.
I think we'd all better go out and work in the garden. Fairy, would you share your seeds with Mrs. Savage, please? Right along now.
Ooh.
Aren't you going with them, Mrs. Savage?
No, I wanted to speak to you alone.
All right. What can I do for you?
A great deal. And it may be that I can do a great deal for you.
Are you going to offer me a bribe, Mrs. Savage?
How does your guess?
Everyone does it first.
But still, my offer is a little different. I have the money. I'll give you $20,000 to leave that door open tonight.
30,000? Don't you like us, Mrs. Savage?
That is a most irritating answer to give to a sound business proposition, my dear. 40,000. You could be free of this place, too.
But I don't want to be free of it.
50,000. You could go around the world, see Cairo, Mandalay, the South Pacific.
I've been to Cairo, and I've seen Mandalay and the South Pacific.
You have?
I had 4 years as an army nurse.
Still, you can use $50,000.
Now, where would you get $50,000, Miss Savage? That's a fortune.
Never mind, I could get it. And in the current idiom, 50,000 is peanuts.
Oh, I believe you. But I'm afraid I'll have to refuse.
Then you leave me no choice but to burn the place down.
Oh, you wouldn't do that.
Oh, yes, I would.
Too many people here wouldn't know how to save themselves. You'd think of them first.
If you believe I belong here, then why are you appealing to my reason?
I wasn't. I was appealing to your emotions.
Well, I'll get out of here soon enough. It's just that bribing you would have been so much cheaper. Now it'll cost me a couple of million at least.
Good morning, Dr. Emmett.
Good morning. Is Mrs. Savage downstairs?
She just this moment stepped out into the garden.
What's her state of mind this morning?
The usual pattern. She's already offered me a bribe.
Really? What did she offer you?
The highest yet. $50,000. The poor thing.
Did she sound confident?
Definitely manic. She talked as if she still controlled her own affairs.
Apparently she does. Read this. I've just been talking to her children. They're practically out of their minds themselves. No pun intended. Senator's leaving Washington at once. Pick up the sister in New York, the judge in Boston, and be here by tonight.
This is the most incredible story I've ever read. When did they discover it?
I gather this morning. You know, they asked me to confine her to her room.
$10 million? That's a typographical error, isn't it?
No, they had it all right.
But what could she have done with it?
As her son says, God knows.
Could she have spent it?
I doubt it. Would you call her, please? I'd better let her know what to expect.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Oh, Mrs. Savage, would you come in here, please? Dr. Emmett wishes to speak with you. Are you going to place her in seclusion?
Of course not. Although sometimes I wish there was a way of placing the relations in seclusion. They're always much more trouble than the patients.
Do you think she knows what happened to that money?
I doubt it. And if she does, she's the only one.
Is there any possibility that there's a method to her madness?
Miss Willie, I find it harder every day to say exactly where reason ends and madness begins. For the moment, we must accept the presumptive evidence of her stepchildren.
Well, from what I've heard, her son's record in Congress would give any good psychiatrist a nasty turn.
It certainly would. And the sensationalism of her daughter's 6 divorces certainly doesn't speak too well for her emotional stability.
Did you want me, Doctor?
Yes, good morning. Miss Willie, would you help Miriam out on the switchboard? She's been absolutely swamped with calls from newspapers.
Yes, sir.
Please take a seat, Mrs. Savage.
I think I know what you're going to tell me.
Do you?
I wondered how long it would take them to find out.
Then you are aware of what you've done and the consequences.
Oh, it's too early for consequences, Doctor. May I see them?
The senator phoned from Washington, and we can expect them all by tonight.
Indeed we can. Well, I'm not going anywhere.
How could you have possibly spent $10 million without someone knowing about it?
Well, who said I spent it?
That paper says you did.
Oh, what do they know? I didn't spend it. I couldn't. I hid it.
You hid it?
In $500,000 negotiable bonds that can't be traced.
Why?
I don't ask you what you do with your money, Doctor.
I'm sorry this has happened, Mrs. Savage, but I'm afraid this hidden treasure is going to prove a great disadvantage to you.
That's because you're a doctor, and doctors never know the value of money.
Would you like to know how long it would take me to earn that much money?
The hills are alive with us. Oh, excuse me, doctor. I came back for my violin. Fairy might want music while planting seeds. Yes.
Hannibal, you were a statistician, weren't you?
Yes.
Well, how long would it take the average doctor to earn $10 million?
Well, let's see. Well, he'd have to start before the birth of Christ and work his way straight through the burning of Rome and the burning of St. Joan, straight through the Norman Conquest and the Crusades, the 100 Years' War, the 30 Years' War, the 7 Years' War. But that's without working double time during the discovery of America and the discovery of the bubble gum. But you have to work double time again for federal tax and state tax, city tax and luxury tax and amusement tax. He'll take an extra 100 years just for that, doctor.
Thank you, Hannibal.
Oh,
you see, Mrs. Savage, it is a great deal to be responsible for.
Now, what's the doctor up to now, Mrs. Savage?
A bit of emotional blackmail, I suspect.
Blackmail.
Hannibal,
Yes.
would you guess to look at me that I'm worth $10 million on the hook?
Never. The human body is only worth 20 cents of calcium, 5 cents of iodine, and 20 cents of phosphorus. No one's worth over $1.50.
So you value me only at $1.50?
Never. You said worth. Your value is inestimable. Yes.
Hannibal, I like you.
Well, thank you, Mrs. Savage.
I like you very much.
Thank you.
You make me feel important. You make me feel like dancing.
Splendid. What shall I play?
Anything.
How about the flight of the bumblebee? I'm good at that one.
Could anything be more appropriate? The bees come home and find the honey is gone. Someone is going to be stung. Play, Hannibal.
Right away. Thank you very much.
Are you reading?
Yes.
That's interesting.
Very.
I'm not disturbing you, am I?
Now, whatever gave you that idea? What's the matter, Fairy?
Nothing. It's just no one said they loved me this livelong day.
Oh, yes, they have.
I've been waiting.
Well, I heard Florence say it at the dinner table.
Did she?
Did I? She said don't eat too fast.
That's saying she loves me?
Well, of course. Well, people say it in lots of different ways. They say it when they say, take an umbrella out, it's raining, or hurry back, or watch out, she'll break your neck. There are lots of ways of wording it. You just have to listen for it.
My dentist says I have perfect occlusion. Is that telling me he loves me?
Why, what else? The very first time I met my husband, I was riding horseback, and he told me I had a good seat. I knew immediately he loved me.
Well, thank you. I've been missing so much. My dentist loves me.
Good.
Now, what else would you like to have me clear up for you, Fairy?
Oh, nothing. Thank you.
Mrs. Savage,
Yes.
I'm keeping score and the boys won't help me. What's 7 and 5 and 4?
49.
Oh, well.
But Mrs. Savage!
My own system, Hannibal. I refuse to be bound by the tyranny of mathematics.
Then I win.
I'll keep score next time. 4.
Miss Savage,
Yes, Fairy.
there is one other thing that you can clear up for me.
What?
Well, why is it suddenly Sunday again, when it was Sunday only yesterday?
Why do you think it's Sunday, Fairy?
Because your children are coming to see you. And if they're coming, it's got to be Sunday, because that's Visitor's Day. Guess I had an awfully good time this week.
It isn't Sunday, Fairy. My brood are coming back because they couldn't wait a week.
Oh, that must make you so happy.
It should, but it doesn't.
Excuse me, don't you like them?
Not at all.
Oh, I think that's a wicked thing to say.
Well, if it's any consolation to you, Florence, they were not my own. My husband was left with 3 small children.
Oh, but you must have liked them when they were little.
I wanted to make them my own desperately. But they always resented me. Why, the first time I put my arms around Lily Bell, she bit me. And she bit me every day until she was 10.
That must have made you very high-strung.
What stopped at the exact age of 10, Mrs. Savage?
Well, I suppose at 10 a girl begins to consider her teeth.
Oh, but the boys. Boys are always so much better.
Not always. They've been spoiled by money. And whenever I tried to correct them, they'd break something I treasured just to get even with me. It was a happy day indeed when they went away to school.
School must have taught them something.
Yes, French. And after that, whenever they came home, they spoke nothing but French, and I couldn't understand them. I haven't understood them since.
But you must be proud of them now. Well, the senator is quite famous,
Yes.
isn't he?
That he is, make no mistake. I'm told he receives more threatening telegrams than any man in Congress. Why, I believe Western Union claims him as a tangible asset.
Oh, Mrs. Savage.
If he's so unpopular, why do the voters keep sending him back to Washington?
Well, they're no fools. It's the only way to keep him out of the state.
The other son's a judge, isn't he?
Well, that's a distinction.
Well, he's made it one. He has the distinction of having had more of his decisions reversed than any man in jurisprudence.
Is the daughter pretty, Miss Savage?
Well, there's a picture of her in the newspaper. I'll show it to you and you can judge for yourself.
Oh, don't bring us anything out of the paper, please.
I won't. I'll just show you her picture.
But we don't look at pictures either, Mrs. Savage.
People are always pinned under trust.
Yes.
Well, I can peek first, just to make sure that it isn't horrible.
Well, even I don't say it's horrible.
Oh, she's a queen! Look, everyone, she's wearing a crown!
Oh, queen? That's a tiara, Fairy. It's an old picture taken back when she was married to her Slovak prince.
Let's take a quick look, Hannibal, just to be polite.
All right, polite.
So she's a princess.
No, she discarded the prince a good 6 husbands ago.
Why?
Hell hath no music like a woman playing second fiddle.
I bet she kept that tiara.
Oh, she did indeed. I suspect she sleeps in it.
I don't know when I've seen a prettier tiara.
Mrs. Savage, her dress is cut rather low, isn't it?
I don't like her. Let's do something mean to her.
Very.
Well, I don't mean something real mean. Just something like taking her picture out of the paper, putting it on that dartboard and throwing some darts at it.
Very.
Oh, very.
My dear, you're a sweet child. That's exactly what we'll do.
Oh, you wouldn't.
I need my exercise, dear.
Very, you are an evil girl to
Yes.
think of such a thing.
Don't talk to me like that. I'm sensitive.
Let her alone, Florence. I'm the culprit. Now, what can I pin this up with?
Miss Patty has thumbtacks.
Oh, Fairy, I'm so disappointed in you.
Oh, I wish I'd died in my cradle.
Mrs. Patty, do you know that's the loveliest seascape I've ever seen? Why, I can almost smell the ocean.
What is she doing?
You know, I think your genius lies in your simplicity. You challenge the imagination. Could I borrow a thumbtack?
Faith, it's setting a very bad example for motherhood.
Oh, do stop worrying, Florence. Don't you like surprises?
Well, yes.
Well, I want a surprise, Lily Bell. Now, target for tonight. I'll tee off.
This isn't good, Florence. Something's gonna happen.
Something dreadful's going to happen, I know.
Right in the tiara.
Everyone to the upstairs study, please. Mrs. Savage's visitors are here.
Oh, let me stay, Miss Willie. I never get to meet strangers anymore.
I'm sorry, Fairy, but the senator insisted upon privacy.
Well, one day when I'm ordered out, I'm going to go without saying a word. I have as much pride as anyone, you know.
Yes, dear. Come on, Miss Patty, you too.
How's the weather out there?
It's pretty stormy. Here are your visitors, Mrs. Savage. That will be all. You can wait outside. I'll just leave the latch off and wait at the front desk.
I don't know what to say to you, Mother. For the life of me, I don't know what to say.
Polite people say good evening.
Deception is so unlike you.
I'm not angry. I'm just hurt.
Have you the faintest idea of the enormity of what you have done? You have sole control of 15 Savage industries.
We'll have to sell our stock in Savage Brass just to buy it back.
Oh, didn't you find out? I sold that first.
What else? What else did you dispose of, Mother?
Everything in my name.
We're ruined.
Where is that money? You couldn't have spent it.
tell us what you did with it, dear.
I converted it into a neat little bundle of negotiable bonds and buried them.
When you say buried, you mean hidden.
I mean buried, as in funeral.
In the ground?
I feel physically ill.
Where are they buried?
I forget.
Oh, Lord. Grant my mother just one moment of clarity.
Where did you bury it? Concentrate.
Best thing in the world for getting the lines out of that face, Lily Bell. Oh, I've got to do something about getting you a new eye. Do you know any place that sells bare eyes, Lily Bell?
Give me that stupid thing and answer us.
Miss Willie!
Lily Bell, stop it! You are just antagonizing her.
Mother, I'm sorry. Hold your bear. We forget that you're sick.
Now, what we must make you understand, Mother, is that it's not the money that concerns us so much as the disgrace of us. What is it?
She bit me!
That is ridiculous. Whatever Mother might do, she wouldn't have sent a baton.
It was a wasp.
If ever there was a wasp, it's the woman we call Mother. I know when I'm bitten. Teeth marks.
There is no need to raise your voice.
Does it hurt?
Of course it hurts!
Lily Bell, you stop your arguing this instant. We can't afford it.
You can't afford anything.
We simply refuse to be angry with you, Mother. Lily Bell, apologize.
I will not.
Lily Bell.
Mother, it's quite all right. I don't object to your biting me. Gnaw and mangle me to the bone. Gum me to your heart's content. Only tell us what you did with our money.
My money, you've had your share.
That money is ours. It's been in the family for generations.
8 generations.
It is horrible to think that you should be the first savage to be found wanton.
Found wanton? What?
For savage pride. Now I want you to listen to what I have to say to you. We have never considered ourselves possessors of great fortune, but custodians of wealth. Don't do that!
Look! I just asked you to look! She has been throwing darts in my picture!
What of it? That can't possibly hurt you.
It's the most vicious sort of voodoo magic known to man.
We're losing ground.
We were fostered by a werewolf. Every savage son of us.
My patience is exhausted. What have you done with that money?
I told you I buried it.
Where is it buried? If you don't tell us this, we'll send you to a public institution. We'll not tolerate this criminal waste.
Oh, you've got me in such a state I can't think. I haven't a brain in my head anyhow. You've said so time and again.
Not me.
With all this shouting, you've given me such a headache. I can't remember a thing.
What do you mean you can't remember a thing? Of course you can.
I can't. My head is pounding.
Titus, we better be careful.
Can we get you anything, Mother?
Yes. The only thing that clears my head is those powders I used to take.
Where are they?
I'm out of them.
We'll get more.
Will you?
Of course.
Well, here's the prescription number. It's from my druggist in Richmond.
You mean drive all the way back to Richmond?
Where is everyone?
Are you ill?
Titus, this is dangerous. We better get those powders and come back in the morning. We won't accomplish anything tonight.
You're right. You get the prescription filled.
Samuel, get it filled. And when we get back, I am going right to bed.
Now, are you prepared to tell us what you've done with those bonds in the morning?
How?
I'll tell the chauffeur that we're ready.
Samuel! What? Wait! What got into him? Well, we must go now. Come, Lilybell. I'll have Dr. Emmett give her a sedative.
Psst, Lilybell.
What do you mean by psst?
I have something important to tell you about the bonds. Close the door.
Well,
I want to tell you where I've hidden them.
why me?
Titus and Samuel are fools. If something were to happen to me overnight, the bonds would be lost.
It was Titus who wanted you in here, not I. Where did you hide them?
What would you do with $10 million if you didn't trust banks?
Well, I don't know.
Would you hide it under a rock?
No, of course not.
Would you hide it under your mattress? Of course, you're never far from your mattress, but what if you were? And the house burnt down.
Are you going to tell me or not?
Have you ever been to the Museum of Natural History?
No.
Very educational. And fireproof.
Mother, please.
Do you know what's on the 3rd floor of the museum?
How could I?
The Department of Ichthyology.
What are you talking about?
Fish. In the last room on the 3rd floor, hanging from 2 wires, is a big, dusty porpoise.
Well,
I stuffed my bonds in that stuffed fish when no one was looking.
I don't believe you.
Name me a safer place.
Only a fool would do such a thing.
Well, that's me.
How did you get those bonds inside a stuffed porpoise?
Easy, a razor blade and Scotch tape.
How do I know you're telling me the truth?
There's a simple way to find out.
You must think I am very gullible. I have no intentions on hunting inside a stuffed fish.
Are we to wait all night for you, Lilybell? Samuel is honking.
Well, let him honk.
Dr. Emmett will see you in a few minutes.
Titus,
What?
kiss your mother goodbye.
I don't trust you. You bet Lilybell.
Well, that's funny because I trust you. I was about to tell you where the bonds are hidden.
Surely you know it was never my idea to send you here. Lilybell talked me into it.
Will you get me out of here and let me alone?
Oh, you know I will.
Then I'll tell you where they're hidden.
Where?
They're in a tin box.
Where are they?
Do you remember when I went to Washington with a group from Actors Equity?
No.
Well, I do. We were celebrating National Ethel Week. There have been so many famous Ethels. Ethel Barrymore, Ethel Merman, me.
What are you talking about?
My bonds are buried in the president's hothouse.
I don't believe you.
Well, you didn't believe Watergate until you investigated it.
But why such a public place? All those people in and out.
Well, I'm not very bright.
You know I'm the only man who can't get inside the White House.
You know, you really should agree with him more.
How do I know you didn't imagine all this?
Well, there's a simple way to find out. Dig.
I'm not falling for that trick. You didn't bury the bonds there.
In the flower bed under the petunias.
Titus, unless you hurry, Samuel and I are going on without you.
I'm coming. I refuse to believe you.
We listen. We're horrible. We're all quite ashamed. We all wish we were dead.
We wanted to stop listening and sneak away, but we couldn't without making too much noise, Mrs. Savage.
Oh, it's quite all right. It's no secret. If you read the newspapers, you'd know.
Did you really hide all that money?
I did indeed, for my husband's memorial.
And now you're giving it back? You're very generous for your size and weight.
But you didn't tell the judge where his share was.
Oh, that prescription number was really a note saying to look inside the chimney.
Oh,
But why did you hide it if you were going to tell them where it was?
yes.
What makes you think I did?
We heard you.
Well, foolish I am, but not that foolish. Whatever is in that chimney, or under the president's petunias, or stuffed in that stuffed fish, I can assure you it is not my little bundle of bonds.
But Miss Savage, why did you say that they were?
I wanted to see to what extent they'd make fools of themselves.
Wow, nothing makes the truth seem so shabby as a magnificent lie.
But how do you know they'll believe you?
They'll want to believe me.
They may consider it degrading going out and digging, Mrs. Savage.
Oh, but they will.
How can you be sure?
Yes.
There are a million things a man won't do for $5, but there aren't 5 he won't do for $1 million. They'll dig.
Startled me. I didn't know anyone was in here.
And I didn't know you could play the piano.
I only play when I'm alone.
Oh, well, you shouldn't be so shy. No one's going to compare you with a professional.
But I am a professional.
Oh.
I made my debut at Town Hall a week before the war. Jeffrey Meredith, you see?
Oh. Why, Jeff, it says you were brilliant. Forgive me, I should have known.
I was going to appear at the Philharmonic. I didn't, but I have the contract to prove I might have.
Oh, but you never play. Please, go on. I'd like to hear you.
No, I don't like to be stared at.
Well, I'll just sit the other way and listen, Jeff.
I'd rather not. I'm not ready to face people yet. Please don't insist.
I wouldn't dream of it.
Thank you. Can you keep a secret?
For about 10 minutes.
Dr. Emmett isn't a doctor at all.
Oh? What is he?
Yeah, a patient, just like Mrs. Patty.
Do you think so?
For 5 years now, he's promised to give me a new face.
No, he's a doctor, Jeff. It says so on his office door. He wouldn't lie.
Do you believe a man is what he claims to be?
Well, I'm a trusting soul. I try to believe the best of people.
Well, it's best to believe the worst. If you believe the worst, then the worst is only half bad at best, and the best is no worse than expected. So it's best to believe the worst.
You know, Jeffrey, that's almost obscure enough to be profound. What does it mean?
It's simple. When a man says he's wise, you say he's a fool. But if he says he's a fool, you believe him.
But only a fool claims to be wise.
Exactly, which proves I'm right. Dr. Emmett is a fool. The war was over 5 years ago, and where's his miracle?
Some things take a long time to heal, Jeffrey.
I can't wait much longer. I'm getting old. I'll be 26 soon.
And that's ancient. Why don't you forget your appearance and play anyway? Don't condemn your audience before you give them a chance to be kind.
Look at my face and then tell me an audience won't shudder at the sight of me. Look, do you see?
I see nothing to hide, Jeffrey.
Dr. Emmett told you what to say.
No, he didn't, I promise. But I'd trust him if I were you. Give him a little more time.
All right. I'll give him 5 years more.
Fair enough.
Do you know something?
Not a thing. I'm awed only by the magnitude of what I don't know.
I really wouldn't tell this to anyone else, but Hannibal really can't play the violin.
No.
Yes.
Well, of course, I'm tone deaf.
I'd tell you something else. I sometimes wish I were too.
Well, you're a sweet boy to pretend.
Hannibal really can't play, yet he does. I really can, but I won't. Don't you think that's funny?
Not very.
Ah! There's a rat in the hole! A rat as big as a mouse! Get up on a chair, quick!
Fairy, what am I going to do with you? You know there's no rat in the hallway.
But Miss Savage didn't. She's born here, and I intend to make life exciting for her.
Fairy, you'll be glad to know I just aged 50 years. That puts me well over the 100 mark.
Oh, boy, we can have a birthday party. I'll make the candles.
You'll sit down quietly and drink your coffee.
Oh, dear me. Dear Florence, I ate too much again.
Hannibal, I told you you shouldn't exercise right after a meal.
I know, but if I wait until I'm comfortable, my conscience won't needle me, Florence.
Are you sure there have been no telephone calls or messages for me today?
Positive.
Well, could we see about sending to the village to get tonight's newspaper?
Well, if you'll finish serving the coffee, I'll go and ask Dr. Emmett.
Gladly.
Here you go, Bingo.
Florence hasn't been served.
Oh, don't stand on manners, Jeff. Miss Wheelie knows just how you like your coffee. I'll get my own.
Very well, thank you.
You're annoyed.
Miss Willie, you single me out for attention. It's unfair and it makes me uncomfortable.
Oh, Jeff, I'm sorry. I'm just so tired tonight. I forgot. Forgive me.
Of course, I forget sometimes too.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the best dressed of them all? Fairy who?
Cream in your coffee, Fairy?
Oh, please. Do you think this dress does anything for me, Miss Savage? I made it myself.
It's sheer delight. Sugar?
5. I didn't have time to finish it, so I put it together with pins.
Hannibal?
No, thank you, Mrs. Savage.
Would you like to know a way of making that exercise more enjoyable, Hannibal?
Mrs. Savage, an enjoyable way to exercise has yet to be invented.
Well, I know of an improvement. All you need is a deck of cards.
I went to a fortune teller once when I was 14. Everything he told me was wrong. I never believed in cards after that. Fairy, fairy, fairy.
All you have to do is throw them up in the air.
Why?
Well, to lose weight.
Dear.
Now all you have to do is bend over and pick them up. 1 by 1.
I like that. It's tidy.
Thank you, Mrs. Savage. This is a great improvement.
I learned it in a beauty course.
But I think it would be easier if we picked them up sideways.
Much. But man was made all wrong. His stomach should have been in back, so when he bends over, it doesn't get in the way. And you know, his knees buckle out in front of him instead of folding neatly behind him. And his nose is in the wrong place because it gets in the way when he's kissing.
Oh, you're so right.
God must have been in a hurry.
Hannibal, what are we doing now?
Oh, we're losing weight, Doctor.
Well, would you postpone it for a little while? Would you all go up to the study for a few moments? I want to talk to Mrs. Savage. Florence, please take the coffee up with you.
Oh, I do hate having coffee upstairs. It's so middle class. Where's John Thomas?
I think you left him up on the phonograph, Florence.
Oh, yes. He adores the classics.
Upstairs, downstairs, child. Big on screen. May I stay, Dr. Emmett? No, you may not.
Miss Willie tells me you seem anxious to see tonight's papers. Why?
A habit.
Here they are. It will undoubtedly please you to know that you've caused considerable trouble. Again.
Have I? Oh, Titus on the front page. Senator trapped in White House hothouse.
I've just been talking to him, and he's exceedingly angry.
Pulling up all those petunias. What will everyone think?
You know, Mrs. Savage, that as a result of this, your position here at the Cloisters has deteriorated considerably.
And my disposition has blossomed enormously. Anything about Samuel?
Oh, yes.
Oh, poor Samuel, all those bricks right on top of him. Well, for some people it takes a ton of bricks, you know.
Mrs. Savage, how could they have possibly believed you?
They should be committed, shouldn't they, Doctor? Anything about Lily Bell?
Of course. Your batting average for mischief, as always, is 100%.
Oh, what a horrible picture. Why, this would frighten even Fairy.
According to that, she resisted arrest.
So I see. Female vandal invades museum. Berserk heiress bites police. Now they really are fools, aren't they, Doctor?
What do you hope to gain, Mrs. Savage?
Better terms
For your freedom?
for my husband's memorial.
Your children think that money could be put to better use.
Of course, their own. What? Lily Bell settled over $1 million on her 6 husbands. Titus and Samuel spent as much to secure jobs to which they had no right. Is that better use, Doctor?
Well, they consider your memorial fund most unorthodox.
Oh, that's absurd. There are plenty of charities for giving away money to foolish people in desperate need. And none for people with a desperate need to be foolish.
Well, I imagine that, for heaven's sake, how could you come to a conclusion like that?
My own life taught me that, Doctor. No matter what we want, we never forget the things we always wanted but never got. Why, if Hannibal had a violin when he wanted one, he might not need one now.
That's quite possible, Mrs. Savage.
I want my husband to be remembered with warmth and fondness for a few foolish dreams that came true. I will not give up my memorial to him.
Well, I'd like to discuss this with you further, but at the moment you have visitors waiting. Senator, you may come in now. If you need anything, Mrs. Savage, I'll be just outside.
My headache's gone.
How dare you make a fool out of me? How dare you?
You tried to kill me. You knew that old chimney would fall if I started pulling bricks out, didn't you?
Well, we're really not a very bright family, are we?
Oh, you must be proud indeed to see the name of Savage held up to ridicule again.
Did you dig, Titus?
8 FBI men jumped me, pushed my face in the dirt, thought I was planting a bomb.
Why didn't you tell the newspapers the truth? I did. Sleepwalking? Really?
You try to think of an excuse with 8 men on your chest.
Oh, she'd love the chance.
It was learned today that the senator's mother, Mrs. Ethel P. Savage, the actress, was recently committed for irresponsible actions. Democratic leaders were quick to point out that this may explain the career of strange behavior in Congress by the senator. Do you know what this does to me politically?
Makes you a canard mort. French, remember?
I'll never survive it. Never.
They treated me like a common criminal. I was fingerprinted.
Oh, Lilybell. I meant to ask you, what is inside a stuffed porpoise?
Do you know what the papers call us now?
The mad savages.
How do you like it?
What happened to those bonds?
What happened to your dignity?
Where's my money?
Where is your self-respect?
Just what do you intend to do now, Mother?
Are you prepared to listen to my terms? Or, would you care to dig in Grant's tomb?
We are prepared to compromise.
If that means you'll see things my way, then compromise is the right word.
I will consider effecting your release for a period of time in the custody of someone else. It would look better for us.
And I'd be willing to give her complete freedom. She'd give up acting and lead a dignified life.
Freedom, as Titus can tell you, is the right to make the wrong choice.
And what would we get?
That's what I like about you, Titus. No nonsense. I will be generous. You'll each receive a reasonable yearly allowance.
How reasonable?
I will be generous. But the bulk of the estate must be given away by my fund.
Titus, this is completely mad.
We may have that commitment revoked only to have you play another trick on us. Where would we be then?
Where are you now?
Get it over with, Titus.
Very well. Write a retraction, Samuel.
I'm tired of having my decisions reversed.
When I'm released, I will keep my promise, but I warn you, don't have me followed.
Samuel, wait a minute.
What is it?
I have found the answer on the cover of this medical journal.
What are you talking about?
A way to avoid your compromise. But I must see Dr. Emmett first.
Are you going to sign that petition, Lilybell?
Titus, don't sign anything until I get back.
Lilybell! Wait! Lilybell! What could she have read?
God knows.
Something to trick you. If you listen to her again, you'll be left without a cent.
What'll I do?
Finish it.
And be quick. Yours and Titus's signatures will be enough.
How many T's in commitment?
3.
2.
It doesn't look right.
Oh, come here, boy. Give me that. Come here. Bend over. All it needs to say is the commitment is ill-advised and request release. Will that satisfy you?
It will when you sign it.
Sign it, Samuel.
What are you doing?
We are signing the letter. Sign it, Lilybell.
Isn't necessary. Give me that.
Lilybell!
You'll regret this.
You have no right to act without consulting us.
Oh, do be quiet. Read that.
Read what?
The article on sodium pentothal. It's... Oh. Well, perhaps I'd better let Dr. Emmett explain. Will you tell them what sodium pentothal does, Doctor?
It's generally used in cases of shock. It releases tension, removes the patient's inhibitions, makes them more receptive to suggestions.
It's called the truth drug.
That's not quite accurate, however.
But under its influence, it does make the patient respond truthfully. Isn't that so, Doctor?
If they answer at all.
Now do you understand? Excuse me, Dr. Emmett, did you want me?
Yes, just a moment.
Doctor, I want you to give my mother some of this truth drug.
Haven't I any rights at all, Doctor?
Excuse me, Dr. Emmett. If I may say something, surely you're not going to listen to these people. It's a flagrant misuse of science.
Doctor, I order you to give my mother some of this drug at once.
Mrs. Savage, if I refuse, your guardians are quite within their legal rights to remove you from my authority. Under the circumstances, I'm confident they'll find the means of subjecting you to the influences of sodium pentothal elsewhere.
Then let someone else be responsible, Doctor.
$10 million hidden from use does no one any good, least of all you. It remains an ever-present symptom of psychotic thinking. This is your opportunity to prove that you're capable of making a rational decision. An intelligent mind recognizes defeat.
Well, then let it be known I was not forced to my knees by science. I will tell you where the bonds are.
Wait! We've come to the rescue! Too late, Mrs. Savage!
We'll stand by you, Mrs. Savage!
Shame on you! And you and you!
Dr. Emmett, who are these people?
These are my friends.
Hannibal, I expressly told you to stay upstairs.
I want to protest, Doctor.
And what gives you the right to protest, sir? This doesn't concern you.
I love you, all of you, for wanting to help me. But Dr. Emmett hasn't much choice, as I'm sure you must have heard.
What will you do, Mrs. Savage?
Give them the bonds.
I think you've made the right decision, Mrs. Savage.
Well, are you going to tell us or not?
I'm going to show you. We are going to show you.
Don't hurt it!
There's your precious treasure.
She had them with her all the time!
What? Turn those lights!
Miss Patty's back!
Who is this? Will you turn on those lights?
Lights.
Samuel, get off of... Boy! Who turned those lights off?
One of our patients, Mrs. Patty.
Yes.
Where's Lilybell?
She's disappeared.
My gracious, what are you doing down there? Somebody pushed me.
Well, it wasn't me. I wasn't near enough.
Oh, the bonds. They're gone.
Gone?
What did you do with them?
I put them right there. You saw me. Do it yourself.
Then where are they?
Excuse me, Senator. It seems obvious to me that Miss Patty turned the lights off, took the bonds, and ran.
Miss Willie, notify all the staff to stop Mrs. Patty before she destroys those bonds.
Yes, sir.
I can't bear this! I'm going to pieces!
Oh, dear. This might calm your nerves. Would you like to try it?
Darling Mrs. Patty. Come on, girls. Let's go through a
What? This is simply a madhouse!
This is very... Yes, Miss Wilhelmina? Good. Good. Very good.
Well?
The staff has been notified, all the wards have been locked off, and Miss Willie is searching the basement now.
But did they find that woman?
Not yet.
Then what was the good all about?
We're taking every possible precaution, Senator.
That maniac has $10 million worth of negotiable bonds. If they're not found, they can't be replaced.
What will she do with them, Doctor?
She'll probably eat them.
I don't know, but we're sure to recover them. It just might take a little time.
Years, probably.
Titus, why didn't you stop her? They were right in front of you.
How did I know the lights were going to go out?
You know, it's quite possible that Mrs. Patty didn't take them at all.
Well, of course she did. No one else could have.
You could have. Personally, I think she took them and stuffed them down in front. Lord knows there's room.
You didn't take them, did you, Lily Bell?
No, Samuel. Can't you see she's trying to make us suspect each other?
Well, someone else could have taken them. He was nearest the rugs when the light went out.
He was right beside it.
Well, sir, what have you to say for yourself?
Well, I didn't take them. I don't even like bonds. Bonds.
The Queen has paid! Somebody's gonna die! Dr. Emmett, must we have these people here?
Get them out of here! No. No. Don't let anyone leave until they've all been searched.
Everyone else with your clothes!
No.
My glasses too?
Barry, just a moment. Mrs. Savage, please don't make this any more difficult than you already have.
Doctor, please do something about this man throwing cards in the air. My nerves are on edge.
Hannibal?
Yes.
Don't.
Don't do this and don't do that. Don't do this and don't do that. I understand you have a lovely tiara. Do you sleep in it?
Oh, sit down, you unattractive creature. I've had quite enough.
I don't like you.
Barry, sit down and be quiet while we wait.
Very well. Fairy, excuse me, I'm upset.
Well, Mrs. Patty, we have the entire staff searching for you. I think you'd better join us.
Don't let her get away!
Ah! Whoa! Oh!
My basket.
Oh!
Now we'll find out where those bonds are.
I think you better let me talk to her, Senator. She's not going to talk to you.
Oh, yes, she will.
Oh, no, she won't.
Well, madam, what have you to say for yourself?
I hate everything in this world! But most of all, I hate sliding doors, cuspidors, fights, fuzz, fleas, bumblebees, prickly heat, bats, gnats, pills, pots, pants, butts, bladders, worms, germs, psychoderms, and politicians!
What does she mean?
Weren't you paying attention?
Did you hear what I asked you, madam?
Senator, there's no need to shout at Mrs. Patty. She hears you well enough, just not going to answer any questions. She hasn't answered a question in 20 years.
One.
Don't play any tricks on me, madam. What did you do with those bonds?
You better watch out, Titus. Don't make her angry. She carries a knife.
Miss Patty, Senator, quite all right. She's harmless, but a little hostile. Now, would you please be so kind as to yield the floor to me?
Very well. But I want to hear this woman talk.
So do we all.
Mrs. Patty, this is quite important. Now, I want you to nod yes or no to the questions that I asked you. Now, did you take some bonds from the floor a few minutes ago?
She did and she didn't.
Oh, this is so exciting. I wish I could open up the door and have a body fall out.
Very good. Mrs. Patty, look at me. Mrs. Patty, look at me. Do you remember turning the light out? Yes, you do. Now, do you remember a little bundle of papers on the floor? Try to remember. Think.
Dr. Emmett, I found them.
Oh, no, you don't! Oh!
Ow!
Hand those over to me!
Senator.
I'll talk to these.
Oh! Look! Videotape!
You said you found those bonds!
I said nothing of the sort.
Where'd you find them, Miss Lily?
In the hot air duct leading into Fairy's room.
Well, I said it was cold. No one believes me.
I hold you completely responsible for this fiasco, Doctor.
Well then, Senator, what would you suggest that I do?
Search that woman! She's not a person!
This is going to present quite a problem, Senator.
We'll search everyone else here while we try to get her to talk.
Very well. Miss Willie, take Mrs. Savage to her room and search her.
No, take me. I'm the youngest and I can undress the quickest. What do you want to draw straws?
Oh, no, you go first, Fairy. I don't want to miss anything.
Come along, dear.
You know, I was once asked to play Lady Godiva for the Elks pageant, but I couldn't because my mother was afraid of so many elks.
Mrs. Patty, wouldn't you like to save us an awful lot of trouble?
Dr. Emmett, don't you have some sort of threat you resort to here?
I don't threaten my patients here. Mrs. Patty, look at me!
The truth drug.
The truth drug! Use it on her, then we'll get her to talk.
That's absolutely out of the question. We don't even have her guardian's consent.
Well, who is her guardian?
Her husband.
Well, where is he? We'll get him on the phone.
Japan.
Well, can't you act as her legal guardian in his absence?
Senator, think. We don't even know that she took them yet.
I still think Lilybell's your girl.
Will you stop saying that?
Dr. Emmett,
Yes, Jeffrey.
since Mrs. Savage can't have her bonds anyhow, I think I can help you.
Yes?
Mrs. Patty didn't take them.
How do you know?
Because I took them.
Aha! We were being tricked. I knew we had those bonds. Where are they, man? Hand them over.
I can't.
Jeffrey, did you take those bonds?
Yes, sir.
Well, where did you put them?
I've searched Fairy, Dr. Emmett. She doesn't have them.
Speak up.
I threw them out the garden door.
Stop!
Jeffrey.
Anyone for a game of hearts?
Jeffrey. You couldn't have thrown them out the door. I locked it.
Oh, it's stuck.
Where are those bonds?
Let go of him, you stupid ox.
What? He said he took those bonds.
He did nothing of the sort, and I happen to know it.
And just how do you happen to know that, madam?
That is none of your business.
How do you know, Miss Willie?
Well, I had my arms around Jeffrey when the lights went out. I wanted to protect him from being hurt in all the confusion.
Well, thank you, Miss Willie.
That's not true. I took them, no one else.
Dr. Emmett, Miss Willie, there's a fire upstairs with flames this high.
Fairy, you mustn't.
We have company. Oh, but they were. They were this high at least.
Fairy, where?
In the bathtub.
Fairy, sit down.
But there's a fire upstairs. You've got to believe me.
Fairy, sit down and be quiet.
I can't, I'm full of pins.
Jeffrey, if you did take those bonds, where did you put them?
I told you he couldn't have taken them.
Of course he couldn't have. If anyone should know that, I should.
And I suppose you know who took the bonds then?
I confess everything. There's a barn upstairs!
There's a conspiracy down here.
Florence, where are they?
I won't tell you.
Oh, these people are trying to deceive us.
I have committed this theft with full knowledge of the stigma involved. Something is burning upstairs.
Better search her.
Greedy little man.
Miss Willie, take Florence to her room and search her.
Yes, sir. Come along, Florence.
I'll never tell Mrs. Savage. Well, even if they put me in solitary confinement and cut off all my hair.
It's a waste of time to search for Florence, you know.
And I suppose you know who took the bonds.
Yes, I do.
Well, who was it?
But it wasn't Florence.
Then who was it?
And it wasn't Mrs. Patty either.
I don't want to know who it wasn't. I want to know who was it.
Is that good grammar?
If you ask a Mohammedan what God is, he'll recite all the things he isn't, because it's much easier than saying all the things he is.
And, one of the things he isn't is, he isn't on your side.
Exactly.
Hannibal, if you know who took those bonds, would you please be so kind as to tell us?
Well, I don't know exactly who took them, but I do know it was a woman, and I know it was not Mrs. Patty.
Oh, fiddle, let the house burn.
And just how do you happen to know it was a woman?
Titus, really?
How do you know it wasn't Mrs. Patty?
Because Mrs. Patty doesn't wear perfume.
But Lily Bell bathes in it.
I was nowhere near the rug.
Could you identify the sin?
I think so.
Well, I use gardenia. Fairy, what do you use?
No name, make my own.
Hannibal, smell Lily Bell.
All right.
Titus, I won't tolerate this. They are making fools of us for their own amusement.
Smell anything?
Yes.
What?
Smoke.
High time.
I must be losing my mind. I smell smoke too.
Dr. Emmett, I found a fire in Miss Patty's bathtub.
I don't think I'll speak to anyone.
In the bathtub?
I'm afraid it's the bonds. What's left of them.
Let me see those.
Careful.
What? There's no way of telling what these are.
Miss Patty, did you take those bonds up to your room and set fire to them?
Senator, here's a piece of something that didn't burn. Can you tell what it is?
It's the burnt end of a $500,000 bond.
Mrs. Savage, is that one of your bonds?
Well, the treasure hunt is over. That's all that was left of $10 million.
I should have told a lie, and then someone would have believed me.
Fairy, I should have believed you anyhow. I'm sorry. Senator, there must be some way of having the bonds replaced.
Well, there isn't.
Well, they can't be gone. They just can't.
You miserable, useless creature! Do you know the kind of trouble you've gotten us into here?
Just let her alone.
Senator, I've stood for as much bullying of my patients as I intend to. Now would you and you and you be so kind as to leave at once?
Yes.
Titus, what about the burnt piece? Isn't that worth anything?
Nothing! I hold you completely responsible for this mess, Doctor!
I can't be poor. I don't know how.
It's all right, Lily Bell. We'll survive. We always have. I am still Senator!
Lily Bell, I never meant for it to turn out like this.
Take me home now, Titus.
Titus,
What?
what happens to me?
You don't have to worry about a thing. We would never send you to a public institution.
We are savages.
Goodbye. We say goodbye to people we never want to see again.
Mrs. Patty, don't cry. I'm sure you hate tears, too.
She
probably thinks her tub is cracked.
Mrs. Savage, did you think you could change them?
One doesn't change people, Doctor. One makes changes people learn to accept. I had hoped to make them look like fools so that they would look with understanding on the fools of good heart.
And who are the fools of good heart?
I'd say those who gamble on people and invest in kindness. Those who doubt that position means privilege or that manners mean morals. And of course, the rebels with no fear of failure.
That makes very good sense to me.
And justifies my being here.
Would you like to leave?
They'd never let me go.
They have nothing to say about it. No commitment is final until I've made my decision, and I see no reason for your remaining.
Does that mean I'm free to go?
Well, I could set you off on my own authority at once, but let me talk to the state medical examiner, and then I'll let you know definitely.
I'll go and pack your bags, just in case. You can always unpack again.
Oh, you hate us!
Oh, Fairy, why do you say that?
You're gonna leave us.
Oh, but I must.
Is someone waiting for you?
Oh, no.
Does someone need you?
No.
Oh, you can't leave. I haven't had time to get you a going-away present. Oh, well, maybe I can find something suitable anyhow. If you won't be fussy, I can go look.
Oh, I'd like to find something for you too, Mrs. Savage. Will you wait?
Oh, fun. Come on, everyone. Let's see what we can find.
I have something I just remembered.
Don't go away before we get back or you won't get anything at all.
Oh, I'll try to find something useless. I abhor practical gifts.
Mrs. Savage, there's nothing in my room you would want, but there is something on me that I prize. It's my class ring. Inside it says, "Let there be light," something Mrs. Patty would hate.
Oh, Hannibal, I couldn't take the ring off your finger.
No, I insist. As far as silver goes, it has no value, but as far as blood goes, it's pumped blood into my body for the past 10 years. That's roughly about 100,000 gallons of blood, Mrs. Savage.
It's too much, Hannibal.
No, I insist, but I don't seem able to get it off.
Keep it, Hannibal. I deeply appreciate the offer, the sentiment and the statistics.
My finger has gotten too fat on both sides, Mrs. Savage.
Oh, never mind, Hannibal. You've had it so long, it's become part of you.
Oh, I'm all out of breath. Feel my heart.
Oh. Why, Fairy dear.
But I found something. I hope you didn't expect much, because then you would be disappointed.
I won't be disappointed.
I didn't have anything to wrap it in but Kleenex. You can feel my pulse too, Hannibal.
Thank you. About 104 beats a second. What is it, Mrs. Savage?
It's a handkerchief.
No, it's a napkin. Most places serve paper napkins, but they blot or smear.
Oh, well, bless you, Fairy. I'll take it with me whenever I'm invited out.
It says the Cloisters on it. Isn't that so lucky?
Oh, Fairy found something first. What did she give you?
A hand-picked napkin.
Well, then it fits perfectly with my present. It's practical after all. I hope you don't mind.
Oh, what is it?
It's a salt shaker, Fairy.
And full of salt, too.
Well, it's engraved. It says the Cloisters on it.
Yes.
Oh, Florence, you shouldn't have.
Oh, it was nothing.
Is that sterling?
Really, Fairy, I wouldn't dream of giving Mrs. Savage anything that wasn't sterling.
But it's dented.
Oh, Fairy, dents give an antique character.
They certainly do.
Well, I won't say goodbye. I don't like goodbyes and I don't recognize them.
Oh, you didn't expect us to say goodbye, did you?
I didn't even expect a salt shaker.
Well,
how do you do, Mrs. Savage? We have so looked forward to meeting you.
yeah, we're glad you're here at last. Make yourself at home.
Oh, I almost forgot. John Thomas asked me to give you something from him. He was afraid you'd catch his measles if he delivered it himself. Come, Fairy, let's pretend it's garden hour.
Excuse me, Savage, we've got to go dig weeds. Take an umbrella, it's raining.
Jeff, what did you bring?
Just a book, but I hope you enjoy it.
What is it, Mrs. Savage?
It's the lifespan of the ape. Do you know I haven't read this one?
I was lucky, wasn't I?
I'm going to read it tonight.
Mrs. Patty, we thought you'd forgotten us.
What did you bring, Mrs. Patty?
Oh.
May I see it?
It's a genuine mother-of-pearl button. Why, How did you know this was exactly what I needed? I'll sew it on at once. Oh.
I think it was intended to make an eye for the bear.
Yes.
Why, bless your angry soul. Thank you. We both thank you. He's hated having only one eye.
Oh, I hate everything in the world.
Patty.
Oh, I hate everything in the world. Oh, I hate everything in the world but you. I love you, and I wish you wouldn't leave us. Oh.
She said she loved me.
Well.
But aren't you amazed?
Why? We knew it all along.
Yes.
But she spoke.
She had to say it.
Well, Jeff, everyone's being polite, and it's a beautiful evening outside. Shouldn't we join the ladies? By the way, Mrs. Savage, watch your step. Don't break your neck.
You have a nice seat.
Well, I think I have everything. Here's your $85 hat.
Oh, my beautiful, foolish hat.
You know, I think you've been wearing it backwards.
Well, you know I have. It's going to be straightened out.
Where did everybody go?
Oh, well, they brought me going away presents and then refused to say goodbye.
What did they give you? I bet I can guess.
Oh, no, you can't. Mrs. Patty gave me an eye with which to see myself, and Florence a grain of salt to take with what I see.
That's good. And Fairy?
A vision of loveliness.
Oh, I'm afraid to most people she wouldn't seem a very lovely girl.
She wears her plainness with great beauty.
And what from Jeff?
The book of Job.
Nothing from Hannibal?
I'd say Hannibal gave me an appreciation for music I'd never had before.
Yes. Well, I have a little something for you, too.
Oh, now you behave yourself.
It isn't much.
It better not be. My bonds. Where did you find them?
I didn't find them. I stole them when the lights went out.
Why?
I'm not sure.
Don't tell me you're a kleptomaniac.
No, it was too quick to think. But do you know what bothers me? After I took them, I did toy with the idea of keeping them.
That's a natural impulse. What stopped you?
What Jeff might think.
My dear child, you need to get away from this place. That kind of thinking isn't good for you.
But surely you knew that Jeff is my husband.
I certainly did not.
Well, he is. And do you know why I wouldn't keep any of that money? Pure selfishness. I want to do everything for him myself. Surely you can understand that.
The only thing I don't understand is how I ever felt so sorry for myself. Isn't there something about no fool like a you-know-who?
Something, but I hardly think that applies to you.
Does anyone else know about these?
Just Dr. Emmett.
Well, whether you like it or not, you'll both be hearing from my fund.
I talked to the medical examiner.
Yes?
The station wagon's waiting outside, ready to take you wherever you'd like to go. Miss Willie, would you take her bags out to the car, please?
Yes.
There will be a few papers for you to sign.
I must be out of my mind, really. I don't want to go.
You mean you'd prefer to leave tomorrow morning?
I don't think I want to go at all.
Why do you want to stay?
Suddenly, I'm weary. I would like to rest. I would like to be relieved of decision, protected against uncertainty and accident. I'd like to close my eyes at night and know that there are walls to guard my sleep.
But Mrs. Savage, the peace you find here is the moon reflected on a dark lake. Strike the surface and you destroy it. That's not the kind of peace you want, is it?
I want what everyone wants, to want nothing. These people have found contentment here.
How do you know?
I have eyes to see.
So has Geoffrey. But he sees only what he wants to see, an excuse for not facing the future. Does Florence see that her little John Thomas was taken from her? Does Fairy see what the mirror should tell her? No. They found refuge in an eggshell world where you don't belong. For you see yourself clearly. That I'm sure of.
Then where do I belong, Doctor?
In the world you can best serve. Your impulse to live your life with courage was right. Go ahead with your memorial, and don't be betrayed by the illusion of contentment. The door is open to you. Make your peace and walk through that door.
Oh, Mrs. Savage, I'm glad you're still here. I just thought of what I can give you.
Oh, Hannibal, not your violin.
Oh, no. You won't be able to play it, Mrs. Savage. But there is something that I can give you that you can take wherever you go. It's a song. Here's your song, Mrs. Savage. Again. Oh. Do remember, Mrs. Savage, we will miss you here. Mrs. Patty.